Hi guys, I'm Missy, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. So this is going to finish out my eyeshadow palette declutter series for the year. So these are my 18 pans all the way up to I think I've got one 35 pan, and then I have some like 30 pans and stuff. So we're gonna start with the 18 pans. Some of these may be kind of like mixed up because of like the bulkier packaging back here. So I'll do my best to try to keep them in order, but we'll see. So first up we have this Tarte palette. This is part of one of their holiday collections. This is the Glamour palette. Don't really care for the packaging because of the fingerprints. And this is what the inside looks like. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Same with the other palette that was part of that holiday collection. This is the Gilded palette. Packaging is very reflective, so sorry if I'm blinding you with it. I'm going to put this one in the maybe pile as well. Alright, and then we have the one and only Huda Beauty palette that I own. And I got this online because I signed up for a makeup artistry course, and you got this free for signing up. So this is the Naughty palette from Huda Beauty. You may hear some noises in the background because my sister is cleaning in the room next to me, so I apologize for any noise you hear, but you know, life goes on. Things got a bit done. This is the Naughty Nude palette. And I love the quality of this palette. I think it's gorgeous and love the performance. Not a huge fan of these type of shades, but you know, the rest of the palette is very pretty. I'm going to keep. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, like I've told you in some of the other videos, there most likely may not be very much of anything cluttered, but in this video, because I use quite a bit of these palettes, are some of my favorites. So again, it may not be a full-on declutter video, but I hope you enjoy it as like a collection video to see what is in my collection. So I like to say that kind of here in the beginning in case you don't want to watch it if there is not like a big declutter or anything. All right, but moving on, we're going to get into my Lunar Beauty palettes. Let me make some room here. So this is the Lunar Beauty and Aurora Lights Full Fantasy palette. Love the quality of Lunar Beauty palettes. This one is a very good neutral nudes palette with some pops of blue and pink and green. Very, very pretty. Keeping. And we have the Lunar Beauty Moonshroom palette. I love the attention to detail that Manny and his team puts into their packaging and their components. Very pretty, very like fairy, cottagecore, foresty vibes. And this is the one I told you that I am keeping, and I decluttered the Raw Beauty Christie palette because it has very similar color story, and I prefer to keep this one over that one, so keeping. Then we have the Lunar Beauty Nude Prism palette. This is one of my favorites for everyday looks. And I love the cherry blossom trees. So pretty. Gorgeous. One of my favorite covers they've done. And then this is the inside. These shimmers are just stunning. Keeping. have the Siren Sunset. This one is very different from Manny. He tends to do very more, a lot of like nude neutral type palettes. And don't get me wrong, this one has some of that in it, but this one is like a darker mermaidy vibe. I mean, it's called Siren Sunset because it's a siren. Very pretty. Keeping. This was the palette he released some of my favorite shades of liquid lips in. All right, now we're going to move on to my Nomad Cosmetics 18 pans. This is the Ireland Wild Atlantic Way. I didn't get a chance to get around to using this month because I'm filming this in March. I don't know when you're going to see it, but I'm filming in March. Again, don't really care for velvety packaging. I've told you guys before that it just gets dirty way too quickly. But this is the color story. You guys know I love a good green, especially a good green and gold look. Gorgeous. Keeping. Then I have the Nomad Cosmetics Florida Keys palette. This is the Keys Beachy and Peachy palette. Very Florida. I will say that this one is not my favorite. It's pretty and it's very, very summer. But the quality of this one was not as good as a lot of my other Nomad palettes. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Alright, and then we have the Ghost Town USA. I just recently got this and the Haunted Europe, which I'll show you next. When they were putting them back up for sale this year. So I picked them up because I wanted them. Again, lenticular motion, really cool. Love it. Go from daytime to nighttime. And then look at those shades. So pretty. Keeping. Can't wait to dive into this one around spooky season. And then we have the Haunted Europe palettes. The cover just gives me like Dracula's castle vibes of the box. And then you have this where she is normal and then skeleton, ghostly. Very cool. This is like very fall palette on this side and very like spooky Halloween on this side. Keeping. Next, we're going to get into my Simply Posh Cosmetics. This is the Aurora Lights palette. And I love how they do their layout for their palettes because they have a gradient with like a lighter matte, your shimmer, and then like a darker matte. So you have like, it's very easily set up for you where you can like do this as a quad, you could do this as a quad, this is a quad, this is a quad, so on and so forth. Or you could just do 2 looks, 2 looks, 2 looks, 2 looks, or all 3. You know, you've got so many options with this. Keeping. So we have the Cozy Cabin palette from them. I just picked this up Originally this was like a holiday winter release, and then they re-released it recently without the limited edition packaging. Again, love the layout. You go with a more like warm, cozy side, and then you have like a poppy, colorful side over here. Keeping. Then I have their Snow Angel palette. And this is so pretty. Very like pastel winter. Keeping. And I have their Coastal palette. Can't wait to break this out for summer. I mean, look at that. You got your like mermaidy shades and ocean. You got like the sand. You got like kind of like the different fish, coral reef kind of colors. Love keeping. And then I also have their Citrus Punch palette. This one I need to break out because it's very spring colors right now. Very pretty. Again, love the different gradients and the layouts. Keeping. Alright, so we have my Unearthly Gargoyle palette. I did do a look with this on my channel. Love it. You gotta like love deeper tones with this though. I mean, you can kind of go light over in these areas, but it is majority of like a deeper, grungier palette. Keeping. So then we have my Lunar Beauty Moonspell Vol.2, getting started into 20 pan palettes now. And this is what it looks like. And this is the inside. I will say I prefer the color story of the first one over this one. Just because I don't reach a lot for like reddy pinks. Purples, yes. Reddy pinks, not so much. But keeping, because love it. Like I told you with the other one, it's just, if anything, they're display pieces. Okay. So now we have my Gourmand Girls X Crystal Rice Makeup, the Spectra palette. I kind of just picked this one up to get free shipping at that time. I believe it was. I don't remember. I just kind of added it to my cart. And I don't know why. Because honestly, I don't really gravitate towards this color story. So I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Alright, so now we're going to get into my cosmic brushes. This is the Winter Wonderland. They're kind of called Cosmic Beauty now, I believe, but they started out as cosmic brushes. Love this cover. And then this is the color story. Gorgeous. I mean, you guys know, I've told you multiple times, teals and purples and blues are my favorites. Keeping. Love this color story. And I also picked up the 'Tis the Season palette from them. One thing that annoys me is every time I get their palettes, all of them end up with damage on a corner when they're shipped to me. I don't know why that is. They just arrive that way. That just annoys me a bit. I mean, the top row, yes, very Christmas. The rest of it, not so much. But I just got it, so I do want to keep it and test out the quality. Then we have their Sinister palette. I got this in their mystery box. And I did do a look with this as well. And this is what it looks like. The only thing I didn't like is this shade here, because it's just like a glossy shade. I don't really reach for things like that. It was kind of neat to see everybody, including myself, trying to figure out what the heck it was, which I'm sure was their intention. I did like the looks I created with this. I do need to give it another chance though, because I feel like the eye primer I used at the time was not helping me, because I had the same problem when I used the Bailey Sarian palette. I believe they were in the same video, or one right after the other. And my eye primer was going bad, so I want to keep this and try it out some more to make sure that it was my eye primer and not the actual mattes not blending, because I haven't heard anyone else complaining about it. Then we have the Blend Bunny All Done Up palette. I do wish Blend Bunny would do this size. I have her bigger palettes, but I prefer this size over the bigger palettes. Not the quality, just the size of it. That's what the component looks like, and then this is the inside. This is another one that like makes it easy for you to create looks with a gradient, and then the quads if you want like an all matte look. Keeping. Alright, and then I believe this one is a 21 pan, I think. This is the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag Facelift. I did keep the original Life's a Drag because I like the quality of it. But this is the one he re-released and added shades to it. And this is what it looks like, and took out the brush. So you have your neutrals side and your colorful side. I will say that I wish there were more shimmers between those two palettes, just because I prefer more shimmers, well, more of an equal matte to shimmer ratio. I'm not a huge fan of more mattes, but I am going to keep and try it out. I will say I prefer the layout of his palettes that he does now versus these. Okay, so now I think I'm getting into, oh no, wait, let me check. Okay, let me go right here because I have some 18 pans. This is the Glamlite Paint palette. This is the Paint Pro palette. This is the smaller one, I believe. Yeah, this is the small one. I found this at my local Ross. No, this one I ordered off of Glamlite itself when she put them all on sale for like really cheap. I'm going to keep because I want to try it out. My sister did tell me that they are good quality. She loves hers. Alright, so then we have the bigger version. This is just the Paint palette, not the Paint Pro. And then I'm going to do my best to try and show this. I will say these are awkward to store, so that is one downfall. But this is what this one looks like. This one I got from Ross. And I am going to keep, this one does come with a brush. I'm going to try it out, see how I feel about the formula. Let's see here. We'll do this one. This is a 20 pan palette. This is one of my favorite like packaging they've ever done. This and the little cupcake palette. This is the cake palette. And it's essentially a rainbow palette. But I am going to keep because I think it is gorgeous. Let's go ahead and stick with Glamlite here so I can kind of get these bulky packagings out of my way. This is their ice cream palette. Another one, very cute packaging, very bulky and hard to store, but super cute. This is the palette. Love that it has like little movable sprinkles in there. And then you have pretty much like every color you could think of, colorful wise. Even some like warm neutrals and stuff. This would be a good one for me to break out right now too during the springtime. Keeping. Alright, sticking with Glamlite, we're going to get into this one here. This is the Glamlite Kiss palette. I was extremely disappointed in the quality of this palette. Love the packaging, very nice. And I do like Kiss. I grew up listening to Kiss because my uncle is a huge Kiss fan. So I listened to it via him. And I love the lenticular motion they did on this. But this is the worst quality Glamlite palette I have owned. I've tried multiple times to try to get nice cohesive looks out of this, and the shimmers are just horrible. They don't look sparkly. They don't have any impact whatsoever. And the mattes are kind of hard to work with in this one as well, at least for me. They're kind of not very easy to blend, which is not usual for me with Glamlite palettes. So I am unfortunately going to declutter this palette. Hopefully someone else will do a collab with them and maybe have better quality. Okay, so let's do this one, get it out of the way. This is my Besame Sleeping Beauty palette. This is not going anywhere. You guys know Sleeping Beauty is my favorite. You guys know Sleeping Beauty is my favorite Disney cartoon, and Aurora is my favorite Disney princess. I will say I'm mostly more like the cartoon for Maleficent because she's my favorite villain. And then this is just beautiful, the recreation of the Sleeping Beauty book. I did miss out on getting the Snow White one too. I would have wanted it as well, but I'm not paying what they want for it online. And this is another one where it shows you what shades to use to create her look, which I think was pretty cool. And it also does Maleficence as well. And then this is the palette. I did do a Disney villains theme for my birthday a couple years ago, and I was Maleficent, and I used this palette for it. That's why there's such a big dent in this purple. It did perform really well. I am going to keep. Alright, so now that we have the bulkier packaging out of the way, let's move on. So we have the Tarte ManEater palette. This is the ManEater Nightfall palette. This is a 24 pan. This is the color story. This is the color story. Keeping. Then we have the ManEater After Dark. This one came out first. And then this is a very good fall color story. This is a very good fall palette, as is the Nightfall. Keeping. And we have my Blend Buddy Longing palette. This is my favorite Blend Buddy palette that they have done, color story wise. I did do a short, I believe it was, with using this row here, and this shimmer here is so gorgeous. I can't wait to dive into the rest of the colors, but just this alone won me over, this row, and became my favorite palette. Keeping. Blend Buddy has one of the easiest formulas to work with. The mattes pretty much blend themselves, and the shimmers are so impactful. Then we have her new palette. This is the Beauty Below, and this is hefty. She's made this palette all magnetic. Now, I'm someone that I don't really move around my shades, so I really could care less that it is magnetic, but that's just a personal preference for me. I will say there is no way I'm going to hold this in my hand and do my makeup, because it is so heavy, too heavy. But look at this color story. I haven't used it yet, but I mean, look at this color story. If that does not scream Siren, I mean, gorgeous. Keeping. Alright, and then we have the Lure palette, and this came out first. This is kind of like the sister to this one. So you have like your dark siren mermaid colors in that one. And then you have, and I love this. I love this like glittery textured cover. And then you have your bright mermaid. I do wish that there was a mirror in this, though. Keeping. Just because when I'm holding a big palette like this, I would prefer it have a mirror. Alright, next we have Glamlite. This is the Barbie Dream Summer palette. Now, I kept the ColourPop Malibu Barbie palette, and I told you guys I liked it, but I will say that this is a much better Barbie palette. So if you're wanting to choose something, I don't know if these are available anymore, though. I don't think either one is, but if you happen to find them like on Poshmark or Mercari, I would recommend this one over the ColourPop one, just because this one is a lot more pigmented and a lot more like shimmery, gorgeous, impactful shimmers. This is a very good Glamlite quality. Keeping. Alright, so now we have my 25 pan BH Cosmetics Zodiac palette. I picked this up off of Poshmark like way after release date of this palette, because I kept hearing about this palette and how great it was. It is big, but I will say so far I am enjoying it. Yeah, I'm going to play with it some more, see how I feel, and yeah, I'm going to keep it for now. Alright, so now we're going to get into ColourPop. These are their mega, I think they're called their mega palettes. These are their 30 pans, I believe. Yeah, these are their 30 pans. This is the Aurora Struck. A lot of these I got in mystery boxes because I really wasn't someone who was buying these. This one I did buy, however, because when I saw it online, you guys can see the purples and the teals drew me in. And I'm going to keep. And I love this cover. So pretty. Then we have the Play It Jewel. I got this one in a mystery box from ColourPop. And these are your jewel toned shades. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile because I'm not sure about this one. Then we have It's a Mood. This is another one. Yeah, I believe I got this one in a mystery box. And this is that one. Love this row right here. This stands out to me. And this row right here. These would be good, like, warm toned neutrals with a nice green. Yeah, I like the color story of this one, so I'm going to keep it. I will say, you know, I've told you guys before, I hate ColourPop pressed glitters. I wish they would just stop with them completely. You know, they have a newer formula, and I will use that one, but these, like, old gritty ones, I do not like to use. This is the Smoke and Roses. I do like the fact that they, like, kind of made the packaging look like a lacy doily type thing. And it's like that on the palette as well. And then these are like your romantic pinky rose shades with some pops of like dark here and there. I'm gonna keep. And then we have Stone Cold Fox. Now this one I bought, and Bare Necessities, the next one I bought, because I've heard a lot of good things about these and they had them on sale. So I heard this was a very good, like, cool toned big palette, so I'm going to keep. Because I love the That's Taupe palette, and I heard that this was compared to that, but bigger. So I'm hoping that's the case. All right, and then we have the Bare Necessities. I've heard this is a good one to have for just every day. That's what it looks like. I love the textures that they put on there. And then this is what it looks like. And I'm going to keep. All right, moving on, we have Glamlite and Mikayla. This is the first palette. I know Mikayla is not everyone's cup of tea, but I do love the quality of the palettes that they did. I will say that the mattes are a little hard for me to work with, but I do like them. And then you have like glitter specks in here. Love that. Think it's cute. And then you guys know, I mean, look at the color story here. You got your greens, you got your purples, you got your warm oranges and browns. Keeping. Then we have the Mikayla Paht 2 collection. I will say I like the quality of this one better than the first one, but I do like both. And then this one has the like gold specks in it. I do think that was neat and very different. And this is what it looks like. I am going to keep. And we're back into Blend Bunny. This is the Dollhouse palette. They're very difficult to get out of the box sometimes. And this is what this one looks like. Very pretty. Keeping. And we have the Surge palette. One thing I've noticed Blend Bunny tends to do is discontinue palettes too, quite often. And this is what that one looks like. Again, this is another one where I wish there were some more shimmers in it. There's still a decent amount, but there is a lot more mattes than shimmers. That I'm keeping. And we have the Primal palette. I think this is another one that's been discontinued. And this is what this one looks like. Blend Bunny's palettes were very redundant in like rainbow gradients, which I get because it seems like that was like a kind of a makeup artistry thing. And then this has a giant white and a giant black to help with like deepening and lightening and blending shades. Again, this is another one I wish there was some more shimmers in. I am going to keep though. I don't know if you guys can see my fur baby chilling out over there in her bed. She's been liking to spend all day in my office now over by the window in her strawberry shortcake bed I got from Five Below. Alright, and then we have, we have the Machina palette. And I know some people say it's Machina and some people say it's Machina. I'm going to say Machina. I love this cover. I think it's so gorgeous. I believe this is the one that she did with her dad, the last one they did together before he passed. Again, very pretty. And then you have like your humanity, colorful side. Then you have like your robotic machine side over here. Again, wish there were some more shimmers in here than mattes, but again, that's just personal preference. Gonna keep. I can always pull some of my single shadows out if I need some more inspiration to use with this, and it'll allow me to use my singles more as well. Then we have the Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge palette. This one got discontinued. I know she talked about bringing it back under a different name because rather than fight out a lawsuit for the word grunge because she was being legally threatened by another company for using this word, which in my opinion is ridiculous. The word grunge has been around for a long time, but it is what it is, I guess. So this is the Sugar and Grunge palette. And this is what it looks like. Again, would prefer more shimmers, but you know, that's not really the layout they go for. They do more now, which I'm happy about. But I am keeping. Love the color story. Alright, and now we're down to my last biggest palettes. Okay, so we have my BH Cosmetics Miss Claus the Litless palette. I reach for this palette every Christmas. Whether I want a neutral look, whether I want an icy look, whether I want a red look, a green look, I have it all right here. And I love the quality of this. Again, pressed glitter. Not a huge fan of that. I did use it once to like put on my nose for a Rudolph look. So I did use it for that. But yeah, not really going to be dipping into that other than things like that. But I am glad there's only one. I prefer it not be in there at all. But and this shade right here, you guys can kind of see it's got a decent dip in it because I love to use it in the eyebrow or the brow bone and the inner corner, and it works really well as a face highlight as well. Keeping. It is cumbersome to store. I was thinking about picking up the Naughty palette that they did as well, just because I love the quality of this one so much. You guys let me know if you've owned both. Are they pretty much just the same palette or are they different? Okay, keeping that one. And then we have the Take Me to Brazil from BH Cosmetics. It's another one I picked up later. This one's a 35 pan. And these are the shades. Very, very rainbow. And then you have your kind of like minty green, a black, and a shimmery white down here. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Maybe pile. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. And I'll revisit it here in a few minutes. Alright, so let's kind of move some stuff over. And we'll get back into the maybes. Okay. Alright, so we have the ColourPop Play It Jeweled palette. I'm gonna keep. Then we have the Gourmand Girls X Krista Rice makeup. I'm gonna declutter this one because I know me, I'm not gonna reach for it. And we have the Nomad Cosmetics Keys, Beachy, and Peachy. I'm gonna keep this for now, use it again this summer, and fully decide whether I want to keep it in my collection or not. So keeping for now. Then we have the Tarte Gilded palette. Then we have the Tarte Gilded palette. I'm going to keep... I'm weak when it comes to my Tarte palettes because they're just so easy. I don't have to think about them. And I'm also going to keep the Glamour palette from Tarte as well. Okay. And back to this one, Take Me to Brazil. You know what? I'm going to keep, and like the Nomad one, I'm going to use and fully decide if it's going to stay in my collection or not. So, yeah, I'm going to keep for now. Alright, so I am going to come back with my totals. Obviously, if you've watched the whole thing, you know it's not a very good declutter, which I warned you guys in the beginning that it may not be. Like I've said before, I purchase all my palettes myself. I don't get PR, at least not yet anyways. So it is a little harder for me to kind of part with things because I have spent my hard-earned money on it. Yeah, so, but I need to get better. Like I said, I'm trying to not buy things unless I really, really want it. And I don't already kind of have something very, very similar in my collection. That's kind of difficult. And I don't purchase whole collections anymore unless I really want the whole collection and everything in it. So I am getting better at that. Like I said, you know, I'm going to be doing the Spin Wheel Picks My Makeup series. I don't know when I'm going to start that, but I'm going to be doing that to kind of help me dwindle down more some of these palettes that have either been used once or twice or not used at all, to kind of help me decide whether I like the color story, whether I like the formula, all that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'll be right back with my totals. Alright guys, I am back and I kept 50 palettes and I decluttered 2. So yeah, not the greatest declutter, but yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully, you know, like I've said in other videos, I can get a feel for my palettes more of what I like and what I don't like, and dwindle down some more and try not to add too much into my collection in the meantime, because I am trying to get better at that, because I was getting into a very bad collector's mentality of needing every palette from every single brand that I liked. So yeah, that's not a good habit for me to get into. Alright, so if you guys would please like and subscribe down below, really helps me out and I would appreciate it. Until next time guys, bye.